What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about Cardano today, ADA. Hit that like button, subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and let's get into it, my friends. It is the 23rd day of August, and here we are at about 91 cents with just under 2 hours left in the day. This the 23rd of August. Very bullish reversal candle yesterday, right? Had a nice bullish engulfing candle at your lows, at your higher lows, nonetheless, and it looks like you do want to progress higher. I want to talk about the prospects of Cardano between now and the end of September, if not even going into October. I want to talk about the ideas of seeing our all-time high areas and beyond there. But before we build out to that, I think we should start with the short-term stuff, okay? Understand what the short-term expectations are, what we're going to see over the coming days. If things change from this, maybe the prediction should be adjusted. If things stay akin to this, attuned to this, maybe exactly or somewhat similar, then I think that we're on track here, right? Looking at the 1 hour time frame, the 1 hour RSI looks productive. It looks bullish. I actually like where we are now, and I would expect that we do move up. We got 2 hours left in the day. Maybe by the end of today, if not sometime tomorrow, Sunday. I think Sunday will be a good day. Just looking at this here, the stochastics look like they want to cross up, and the MACD's right at the zero area. It doesn't have to be like right at the zero, but right in this area. Maybe you come down a little bit more, maybe you cross whatever, but you're at the point where you soon enough will be crossing up. I would expect that between Sunday and Monday, we should be moving up. Yeah. Even if you move a little bit lower, I think that we should be moving up, but I'm not entirely positive that we will move lower. From a low to a high here, you hit your 382. You're finding support on your 236 now. I would believe that Sunday's going to be a good day and that you do progress higher. You probably do see prices that are above 94 cents by the end of tomorrow. So that's a good look there. 4 hour time frame here. The stochastics are bullish. The RSI did reject the overbought zone area, but you're not, whenever you rejected here, you came down immediately, right? When you rejected here, you came down immediately. Here, you're dilly-dallying. Different behavior begets different results. I think those results will take us to the upside. Overall, getting overbought like this over here and then not getting oversold down here, that's a good look. So I do like the overall look on the 4 hour RSI. Spending most of your time above the 50, right? Minimal amounts of time below it. And even whenever you are showing more bearish kind of signals, you're not getting much out of it. Like you moved down a little bit and all you got here was a higher low. That was it, right? Looking at this from a relative low to a relative high. Bounce right off your 0.5. A lot of cryptos have been doing that lately. Up to your 236. I will say, I think it's very important that Cardano stays above 87.5 cents. Now, let me correct that. You could wick below there, but as long as you're closing 4 hour periods above 87.5 cents, I think that you're fine. I think that you are moving higher. If you start closing 4 hour candles below 87.5 cents, we can entertain the idea of going down to about 79.6 to 77.4 cents, okay, something like that. But I would expect that is the end all be all area if you were to go lower to find support. Nice little lower low trajectory. It kind of makes sense. It's the golden ratio. But at this point in time, looking at the indicators, I'm more of the belief that we do move higher. Okay, things do look bullish. The MACD here, this is a very bullish signal, you guys, and this is what makes me think that over the coming days it's going to be eruptive. Okay, we'll compare this to the last time that you did this, right? You broke through the zero here. We'll compare it to there, but you're breaking through it right now. Okay, and you've got continuation. Typically, you don't just stop here. Okay, last time that you saw this, you grew. You saw some nice growth from the 6th Wednesday, 6th of August. You topped off there on the 10th, so you had like 4 days of growth. You just started crossing really today, maybe the beginning of yesterday. So I would assume going into the beginning of this next week and probably even going into the end of this month of August, you're going to see some price growth. And I would expect, not financial advice, not a financial advisor, that as nice as this was, I would expect that this move is going to be bigger. It's all relative, and right here, this movement is bigger than the movements that you were dealing with before this move started here, so I think this move will be bigger. You should be moving up. I wouldn't be surprised at all if Cardano was well above $1 by the end of August, right? Let's actually go over those targets now, okay? Now we're getting to the exciting stuff. Looking at the stochastics, you're at an area where you'd like to find support if you're showing bullishness, and I think that you are finding support here. That's good. 1 hour, 53 minutes left. Let's see if we can pull this day up and actually close a green. That'd be nice, but even if we close red, it's fine. I don't care. I would just like it to close green because then you're not pointed down on the stochastics here, but you're still crossed up. I don't mind it. It's okay. The MACD actually looks very bullish right here. You crossed and then you came back up. You look very bullish right here on the daily time frame. And again, you scooped the zero. You found support there and continuing up. I doubt that you stop here. I'd very much expect that you continue. So same thing with the stochastics as the MACD. You're at points to bounce that mark continuation to the upside. The RSI getting to the overbought zone and coming down, bouncing off the 50. That's a very powerful signal. Expecting that you do get into the overbought zone and you probably see a stronger result than the last one. You were getting oversold, not getting overbought, getting oversold again. Now you're getting overbought, deeper into the overbought zone, not getting oversold, getting overbought again, still not getting oversold. I would expect you to get another deep reading in the oversold or in the overbought zone. And relative to these moves, I just think that you're going to see some immaculate growth between now and the end of this month. Okay, so looking at this here, from a high, the high back in December, to the low here on April 7th. Come on now, being squirrely. High to low. Oh, look at that. That's beautiful. Little golden ratio resistance down to your 0.5 for support. It's perfect, man. You're going up. You're probably going to see prices at $1.08 to $1.20 by the end of the month. I'm thinking that $1.20 area is calling you. That's where you found resistance before, If you're not here, it's only because you're higher, okay? Going into September, you should be seeing new relative highs based on this cycle. Heading for $1.71 and even prices above $2. All right, let's zoom out here. Let's look at the weekly time frame. Actually, hold on. First, before we do that, I do want to look at the daily indicators. I don't think that we've done that yet. No, we did. We just did. I'm sorry. I was thinking that was the 4 hour. I'm all over the place. Weekly time frame here. Very bullish trend, right? Higher lows, higher highs. You can see it with your eyes, right? You've got a nice bullish channel up here. Looks like you want to go to the upside. I would think, and not financial advice, not a financial advisor. We'll see how this goes. But if I'm just drawing this rough, okay, I was not trying to do that. Let's just use a straight line, okay? Let's use a straight line from here to here. Something like this, yeah. If we were to go to the top of this trend line, and let's say it's the way that I have it drawn here would be by like the end of September, maybe in October. That'd put us at about $2.16. Okay, $2, $2.20, somewhere in that area. We take a high to a low on our fibs, and that is right in your primary target zone, the 1272 to the 1618. Okay, so that makes sense if we were to stop at this area. But I have a theory that Cardano could break out of this trend to the upside. We could break out of it to the upside and really get some momentum, some movement that we haven't seen this whole cycle, or maybe something akin to what we saw back here, right? Imagine you make a move like that, what we did back here at that same kind of trajectory, that same pace. From here, by the end of September, you'd be all the way up at new all-time highs. I could see that happening. And we've seen a lot of cryptos this cycle. Again, not financial advice, not a financial advisor, but they'll break out to their new all-time highs, and then they'll consolidate right above there. Bitcoin's done it. XRP's doing it right now. Ethereum probably does it. I'm drawing a blank on any others, but there's plenty of cryptos that have been doing that. Solana, I guess, has done that as well. But I would expect that we do continue to rally afterwards, but a move up above $3 is even in the cards between now and the end of September, if not sometime in October. I do expect that the pace for ADA, for Cardano, is going to pick up. We should see, at a bare minimum, this thing should grow well over 100%. I think that we will see a $2 price or more by the end of September, if not October. But at a maximum, we could be at new all-time highs. We really could be all the way up at $4. I don't see us getting above $4. Let me see. Let me actually double check that real quick. High to low. I mean, okay, to be fair, crazy situation, maybe you get to $6.20, maybe. If you really start, I mean, you've moved at fast paces before. But Cardano, it's at new all-time highs. It's going to have a higher market cap. It's harder to move. Yeah, right? But it's never had crypto, United States crypto reserve status, right? It didn't have that back here. It's got that here. Absolutely. We could see Cardano go up to $6.20 by the end. In fact, Cardano is one of those coins, one of those like top coins that people overlook. That, in my opinion, gives it even more of a chance to move up at a dramatic pace. It doesn't take that chance away. Things that are overlooked tend to perform better than the things that have a microscope put on them, right? I would expect, looking at this, that by the end of September, if not sometime in October, at a minimum we're at 240, at a maximum we're at 620. And if I had to guess, the most appropriate range would probably be between about $3.10 and $4.50. So that's where I think we're going. I do believe we're going to break out of this range. Looking at it here, I really do believe we're going to break out of it. Right? You had a upward sloping trend line here. I'm not drawing it the best. I can't draw straight lines to save my life. We had an upward sloping trend line here. Nobody expected that you break out of it to the upside, but when you did, look at the result, right? It was fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. We don't have another example of that, but that's just what happens, right? Not financial advice, not a financial advisor, but that's my expectations. I don't really have anything else that I want to say other than, if we're talking about end of cycle stuff, that's September, October, that's just like next phase higher stuff. If we're talking about end of cycle, I would think Cardano has a genuine chance of seeing $15 to $40 by the end of the cycle. And I know that sounds crazy to some people, but man, this is my third crypto bull cycle. People think I'm a moon boy. If I was a moon boy, I'd say Cardano's going to $100. We're going to get 100x. But no, I think this thing genuinely can see a 44x. I think that it genuinely will see at a bare minimum a 16x. We look at Cardano's market cap, right? It's one of the top coins. It has been now for a couple cycles. $32 billion. If we were to do a 10x, that's 320. So a 5x would be like 400 and probably close to $500 billion. 15x, 16x, that could be where we stop. That's a pretty high market cap, several hundred billions of dollars. But Cardano could push $1 trillion. It really could push $1 trillion. Maybe even it sees more than $1 trillion by the end of the cycle. If we were to see those kind of valuations, we're all the way up here at $30 to $40. I'm just saying it's very possible. Absolutely. It's got United States crypto reserve status. Okay. That we've never had that before. Does that mean that it has to do well? No. But if the United States is announcing that, then maybe there are other countries, nation states that are taking notice of that and they're adding it to their pools as well. They're making speculative plays on it as well. And in my opinion, in my experience, what do I know? This is my third bull cycle now. But it's the coins that, like if you had a basket of coins, and we've got Bitcoin, XRP, Ethereum, Solana, and Cardano, all in the United States crypto strategic reserves. Which one out of all of those is the one that's being overlooked? In my experience, it's the one that's overlooked that does the best. It outperforms the rest. And that's Cardano. I'm just saying. I think it could do really well. But I got nothing else for you guys. I'm going to end the video there. Hit the like button, subscribe. Thank you all for being here. We should see some nice movement up over the coming days going into the end of the month and especially in September. I think September is going to be a really good month. All right, take care, my friends. Bye.